Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. 2 students dead after motor vehicle crash in Westmoreland. JTA demands outstanding payments from government. And later in sports, Reggae Boys battle Canada in Nations League second leg quarterfinal this evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. A motor vehicle crash in Darliston, Westmoreland has left 2 students dead. They have been identified as 15-year-old Zachariel McIntyre and 16-year-old Johnny Robinson, both students of Petersfield High. According to reports, the students were traveling on a bike to their school Tuesday morning when the incident happened.
They were traveling on a 150 Champion motorcycle from Whitthorn heading to Petersfield. They reached along the Galloway main road, and when they near to the intersection of Shrewsbury and Petersfield intersection, they attempted to make a right turn, a right curve. Unfortunately, they did not keep to the left and collided with a motor car that came along in the opposite direction. As a result of the collision, the vehicles enveloped into flames, and unfortunately both students died as a result of it.
The driver of the motor car was taken to hospital for treatment. Meanwhile, Vice Principal of the Petersfield High School, Anthony Clark, says this brings to 3 the number of students from the institution who have died in less than 2 weeks.
The school is devastated at this time. The student population, the teachers are in mourning. It's a very sad day in our school and in the community of Petersfield. And I just want to take this chance, just appeal to the parents to talk to their children to abide by the policies and the rules, because we have a no motor vehicle or motorbike policy in which students are not allowed to ride to school or to drive to school. But oftentimes these students would drive or ride their bikes and park it within the community and then walk to school. And it is very sad knowing that they were on their way to school and they would have met in an accident and lost their life.
The Jamaica Teachers Association remains restive as monies owed to its members are still outstanding. Speaking on Power 106 Morning Agenda Tuesday, the association's president, Leighton Johnson, said the Ministries of Education and Finance had agreed to pay teachers their graduate and remote allowances, but they are yet to get those payments.
We are now simply waiting on how this is going to be applied on a payment schedule, and that is what we are currently waiting on, for a payment schedule. The teachers have indicated in no uncertain terms that, we are now in November. We are fast approaching another movement in terms of a cycle movement. We are due another increase come April 1, 24, and yet still there are matters that are unsettled.
Mr. Johnson says today teachers are still unable to accurately calculate their salaries since the adjustments in March.
We find a situation that month after month there is fluctuation in terms of the amount that have been remitted to several teachers' salaries, and this causes a whole lot of anxieties in the system. What we find is a situation where once a teacher sees fluctuation or movement in the salary, they contact us at the Jamaica Teachers Association, and we have to compile a list and send it into the Ministry of Education for them to review the salaries of these individuals.
Despite an announcement last year for the establishment of 5 new parish courts, more than 18 months later, that plan is still far from fruition. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the public-private partnership has been stalled by procedural issues.
Frustrating. That's how Justice Delroy Chuck has termed the process to get things off the ground to receive the approval for the establishment of 5 new parish courts. He says it's going through the public-private sector partnership initiative, but it is a tedious process. Speaking in Westmoreland in April last year, the Justice Minister said new courts would be built in St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, Manchester, and St. Catherine. Those 5 courts, he said at the time, will be built over the next 3 to 5 years. But there's no substantial update presently, Mr. Chuck says.
At the moment, it is still going through the procurement process. And I'm not even too sure where we are. But definitely at the Rock here in Trelawney, there will be a parish court. At the moment, there is a family court there. But we have enough land to be able to build quite a significant parish court that can serve not all of Trelawney.
He says plans are afoot to refurbish the Falmouth Court, but they are awaiting reports from the Trelawney Municipal Corporation before work can begin. Mr. Chuck says the funds are readily available.
In all sincerity, I would like to see the Falmouth Court retired in the nearest, as soon as we can build a proper family court, because that structure is now old and it should really become a museum.
Falmouth's Mayor Colin Gage says he has no objection to the plans of the Justice Minister in turning the current Falmouth Courthouse into a museum.
But one thing we can tell you that this building is very valuable to the Trelawney Municipal Corporation and to the people of Trelawney, because it is a landmark, it's a heritage building. It's a building that everybody looks on. It's a building that when people get off the ship, they want to come in and explore and see what is there.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
There's an urgent call for an audit to be done on fire hydrants that are not working in Westmoreland. It's a major issue which has been affecting the work of firefighters in the parish. Since the start of the year, there have been 5 major fire events in Westmoreland. The most recent incident was on November 6 in Savlamar. In the aftermath, a supermarket was destroyed. Councillors from the Westmoreland Municipal Corporation argued that firefighters would be better able to control the fires if the fire hydrants were working.
I can't believe that the township of Savlamar doesn't have a working fire hydrant. I'm not saying that if the fire hydrants were in use, then they could have saved the entire building, but more could have been saved. The fire units had to travel all the way up past Chantilly going Stratbogie to get water.
The fire department has reported that the lack of water is among the challenges being faced when responding to fires. On several occasions, it has had to seek help from businessman Melvin Honeygan for water.
When these men go out to fill the units, if they don't have a certain volume of water, they cannot fill their tanks. When my unit goes to fill, it takes about half an hour to an hour to fill 1 tank of water. So for them to take an hour break from the unit to cool the water, the fire will re-engulf and start to blaze harder than before.
It's a situation the municipal corporation describes as untenable. To this end, the councillors are calling for an audit to be done on all the fire hydrants in the parish.
I'm asking that audit reaches the municipality within the shortest possible time, because we can't continue to operate, especially within this space where we have so many board structures within this parish. It's one of the unique parishes in Westmoreland that has more than 50% board houses. And so the frequency of fires is something that we are always going to expect. So we want to see that audit.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. There are renewed calls for greater collaboration with the Portmore Municipal Corporation in its drain cleaning program. This is to ensure that all drains are cleaned before more rains cause more flooding and threaten lives in the municipality. Carrie Ann Simpson has the details.
The 2 days of torrential rainfall last week resulted in severe flooding in Waterford, Westmead, Garveymead, Bridgeport and Westport in Portmore, St. Catherine. There was also infrastructural damage.
Living here after over 18 years is the first I experienced it. It was not a nice sight. It's the first I experienced it. If you look down at your ankle, the water past your ankle actually going up to your knee between Adair Drive and Falmouth East. You understand me? It was devastating.
These cars are open. They're trying to get sun on them, like to dry the seats. They were vacuum. They called somebody and they vacuumed the cars, but that wasn't good enough. It didn't get it completely dry, so therefore they have to open it so they can get some sunlight in there to take away the smell, because the water, it was dirty water and it came right up in the cars and the car don't work.
Councillor for the Waterford Division, Fenley Douglas, says the root cause of the flooding was the main drain being blocked.
This drain was cleaned approximately 2 years ago by the National Works Agency, and because it was not clean, right, this contributed to at least 90% of what went on Friday night.
He is adamant that the authorities need to be more proactive. In the meantime, Chairman of the Disaster Preparedness Committee at the Municipal Corporation, Kennard Grant, says the municipality will be looking to re-examine infrastructure and how it improves building developments.
As the population grows and development will take place, we now need to re-examine what the situations are. The landscape and how Portmore looked is certainly have to be redesigned. We certainly have to now look at the engineering as we move forward into more developments.
Carrie-Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
It's time for the Business Minute.
The Caribbean Development Bank says if the Israel-Hamas war continues to escalate, the Caribbean region could see higher commodity prices. Director of Projects at the CDB, Therese Turner-Jones, says fuel prices would likely to be one of the first to be affected.
Oil prices remain to be one of these very sensitive prices when there is geopolitical risk. And I think for all governments and all of us as citizens in this region, we need to figure out, okay, I need to find ways to reduce my electricity bill because the price of fuel is going to rise. And that's almost as certain as the sun is going to shine tomorrow.
Further afield, government borrowing in October in the UK was higher than expected at £14.9 billion, largely pushed up by higher benefit payments. But the figures showed a smaller than expected deficit across the first half of the financial year. This was due to higher tax receipts in previous months, reflecting higher wages and inflation. It comes as speculation mounts that there could be tax cuts in the Chancellor's autumn statement on Wednesday. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm O'Shane Masters.
Thanks, O'Shane. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, authorities in Haiti have arrested a new suspect in the July 2021 slaying of President Jovenel Moise. Macky Kessa, a former mayor of the southern coastal city of Jacmel, was detained on Monday, but his attorney Jimmy Jean Baptiste says he has not been charged. He said Mr. Kessa is being held in Haiti's notorious National Penitentiary in the capital Port-au-Prince and that he plans to seek his release. More than 40 suspects have been arrested in the case, most of them shortly after Mr. Moise was fatally shot at his private residence in an attack that also injured his wife Martine. On the international scene, the leader of Hamas says the group is close to reaching a truce agreement with Israel, raising hopes of a pause in hostilities in Gaza that could see hostages freed. But Israel has not commented. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reiterated his stance that his country would not stop fighting until hostages were brought home. And an Italian tribunal has convicted 207 people and sentenced them to a combined 2,100 years in prison on charges related to their membership in Italy's 'Ndrangheta organized crime syndicate, one of the world's most powerful, extensive and wealthy drug trafficking groups. It took over an hour and 40 minutes to read aloud the court's lengthy verdict, including the acquittal of 131 other defendants. The defendants had been charged with crimes that include drug and arms trafficking, extortion, and mafia association. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Simpson.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jordan Fort.